if Reject loses this,
Okay.
there is one scenario that they can still be first seed by the fourth game. That's absolutely insane to think about it. But they've been so strong within this group stages, right? Turning up 4-0, only dropping a single map thus far. So they're incredibly strong, and the players are also incredibly sharp.
Exactly. And you gotta be incredibly strong, incredibly sharp, incredibly good to reach this level, right? Because this is the best versusing the best, vying for the top spot so far in Group B. Let's have a look at the ban picks. The map will be Krakoa, domination format, and it seems like there's a little bit of difference in terms of bans, whereas we see the Punisher getting banned by MVNEsports. So they do not want that burst power coming in, the turret power coming in. The final judgment, as you know, that's just crazy. It rips through shields. It rips
really
through your
does.
strategies.
It really does, right? We've seen so many Punisher moves, and I think Finale might have been eyeing that, but not anymore. And I like the trade from picks and bans here, right? Reject going for that Mantis lock, and then the immediate response from MVN is say,
Wow.
Nay, we'll take away Adam Warlock so you don't get that, Cocoon revive effect. But I like what MVN have been is securing themselves for the final pick. It's gonna be strange, making sure that they can keep portals there and won't be denied by the side of Reject. So
I'm not judging.
Pretty good so far, but we can already see a little bit of chaos ensuing, right? Because one team, both these teams, right? We talk about Loki being banned right off the bat just so that there's no headache on the battleground. But here, none of them decided to ban it, and they're gonna utilize Loki here. So I'm super excited to see the Loki Hela tandem if there's ever any, and not to mention. They're probably just using Raccoon for the beacon, but then probably gonna switch back. But we'll have to find out who will take this on the top, because ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are heading into game number 1, Rejects versus Vietnam, MVNE. They are vying for the first place.
they are. And just to shout out a few names, on the side of Reject, Finale being their first competitive pro game here with the Rejects, doing absolute work. I feel like sometimes it's everyone helping and setting up Finale for some spectacular picks, but in the last few days it's also been Gnome and Gargoyle stepping up, providing a new dive look for the team. And on the Vietnam side, it's Skinny being the playmaker as the Doctor Strange, and Chu on that flex, predominantly on a duelist, but in this case hopping onto a group which is honestly a duelist with thicker skin. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I know, but it can be anyone's game here, right? And you gotta give it up to MVNE, because this Vietnamese team, they came from up against a renowned organization like Rejects. They're putting up a super good fight right here.
They are indeed, and Finale on the Iron Man, just the uni beam, just shutting down teens who are stuck on that ground. Firing back will be Penny out of the action. Lich doing absolute wonders, normally on the strategist, now with the Bucky in hand, just trying to take down that back line, but couldn't succeed. At least manages to push away maybe some heals, as True Tiger will take already. Will shut down DBO, but Finale with a huge shot through this, invisible boundary. Will find a couple, and suddenly MVN are looking a bit more dominant here.
Yeah, but you cannot discount the Iron Man Ultron tandem, right? Because it rips your front line so hard, and it eliminates your strategies as well. Wolverine going down for the second time here. All right, coming in, Piggy. Okay, just holding the lines. Reject, they know that they have the point at the moment. They just gotta make sure that they do not pass through this point, the choke points, easily enough. But here's the good thing about Krakoa. You have so many entry points that you can pretty much just come in anytime you want. It's just a matter of who you can pick off as you flank.
It really is indeed, and so far, it's been at least a trade from the side of Reject. They were all going to have the space here, but the maximum pulse will find a couple despite the invisible boundary in effect. It's just too much damage to have to deal with, and suddenly you've lost Teens and Rethan. in the heat of it all, it's gonna be another one coming up as well. And suddenly Piggy and Gnome just clean up shop. It's all but Skinny, who can't do anything more. Rejects also burned, I think, another invisible boundary just to be able to sustain and lock in their more percentage points onto this site.
Yeah, but at least the Vietnamese team, MVNE, they still have 3 ultimates in the bank, and that's
Yes.
we're talking about Eye of Agamotto, we're talking about God of Mischief, we're talking about the Final Judgment. So this coupled together can be a very, very huge factor, and which is why I think both teams are being very cautious, Multi. Because the moment you hear Final Judgment being popped, you can be rest assured that Magneto's Meteor Amp will be available. Ready
And
to
now
use.
comes the clash of the ultimate. Piggy finding a huge pick onto Teens. The invisible boundary tries to negate that, but it's just too much damage. We'll have to envelop out as well. And then Eye of Agamotto catches one in the sky, but the bubble coming out from Piggy will save the life. And so the sustain comes out through. True Tiger trying to dice up this with a few well-placed walls, but it's so much to bear. Invisible boundaries coming out from the side of MVN, but it's not enough. Gnome will find Rethan, and overtime is triggered for the side of Rejects. They're just clocking and finding heads amongst the chaos. And in the midst of it all, MVN cannot sustain themselves in this fight. It's all scattered amongst Teens. Now that final push, and that overtime sliver will run out. First point going to the side of Rejects.
Yeah, Reject just playing super solid. They know what they're doing exactly on this map, Krakoa, right? And in a domination game like this, it's hard. I mean, personally, I love Winter Soldier, but ultimately, it's just you would love to see a Winter Soldier if the opponent plays Loki or something that can just helps you reset the Kraken impact over and over, right? But here, Lick is kind of struggling to get that final hit simply because there are 2 flying units, Ultron and Iron Man, and he couldn't really get them. And Teens, as the Hela main, that is supposed to be the responsibility of Teens to take out the flyers. But so far you can see it's only 2 final hits. It's not really working.
Not much impact from the side of Teens. I feel like they've dropped out in these early team fights, and then suddenly MVN are walking into a brawl with a bit of a disadvantage. Hela does a quick 2 tap sometimes, especially if you get the right shots, and it's just without that sort of firepower, it's so hard to push in. Yes, True Tiger is a beast of their own, but there's almost so much that a single player can do in this hero team fight. And now MVN spotting a bit of a... This is the new strats that are coming out from Asia, right? You flank around the backside. You want to hide around these pillars because there's so much open space. There's too much open space on the site.
Yeah, you can see they're just doing the exact same thing, hiding behind, far away, and now with the pulse cannon. Oh no, it's gonna hit the terrain. It's not gonna hit any of them. But True Tiger with the strangling preset is gonna be negated. Eye of Agamotto gonna come in. But to what avail? 3 of MVNE Esports already down. The 4th, the 5th, make that a 5-man elimination. It's only TNs left, and that's gonna be a team wipe for Rejects.
It got dicey though. Finale missing that plasma cannon was kind of dicey. Not gonna lie, right? That could have gone real wrong, but just solid work from the side of Piggy to basically hit their shots. Plus also a bit of sustain from that boundary. So away on the higher ground we go. True trying to make sure that they can maybe burst out, and burst out they do. Suddenly they're out from the double doors. The pull is perfect, but True Tiger with the sustain. It's gonna be Finale with the top side. Invisible boundary comes in just a little too late. Shuts down heel, so no more boundaries to be had. And suddenly MVN are shut out completely.
Yeah, they gotta deal with Finale. They gotta deal with Gargoyle. They gotta deal, because Finale on the Iron Man has been dominating, not just in this game but in previous games as well. They gotta recognize this is the person they need to take out. Maybe Lick should be the one to play Hela probably, and because I don't know, I feel like no one is really taking out this annoyance on the game. Like, come on, bring out if you want to take it to close quarters. Oh my god!
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! The future sight.
Oh my god!
Tony Stark sees all. I have no words. Jarvis, Jarvis, put that on TT, because that was insane. right? Finale was waiting. No one else was with Finale.
Yeah.
And just the moment that portal came out, it was that
Everyone walked
pulse
through.
cannon and a 3K to boot, 88%,
Oh my
90
God.
now and climbing. MVN have a couple of ultimates that they need to pull out immediately. I don't know, it's gonna be enough right now as D-Dobes as well as
No.
Piggy just shut down any sort of advancement. Lich not even going to be able to stat foot, and a clean sweep from the side of Rejects will secure themselves this first map.
Rejects is just so strong. They did not even allow MVNE to step foot on the point even once. And that just shows how crazy Finale is on the Iron Man, and very well deserved MVP. They had no one to shut him down. Like if your Hella's not doing a good job, come on, get a secondary duelist to help. Right? You can get someone like Iron Fist. Get Iron Fist, right? Get Iron Fist. Iron Fist can definitely deal with this. Or even better, play your very own Ultron and Iron Man as well. You can definitely do that, right? That's also a very possible combo. If you can't deal with it, mirror it.
Yeah.
And then that can be a counter in itself.
It's true. It's true. You know, I haven't seen True Tiger. Ours can hopefully keep the other aerials up in keep their hands full, honestly, from that perspective.
I totally agree with you. And to top it off, a Penny here on defense will be super good as well. So
Cough, cough. Oh my
now's the
gosh.
time. Now's the time for Penny. Save Penny. But no, they're gonna save Emma Frost instead, banning out the Emma Frost of the opponents. Reject is looking to utilize Emma here. That's a good choice. But now, Marvel Rivals MVNE is they're trying to figure out who should they save here. They should save the Magneto, right? But no, they're actually gonna save Mantis, and this should warrant an Adam Warlock ban. Although if they decide to ban Magneto, then oh my god, then that's gonna be a problem, because you see now, because they save Mantis, Magneto's gonna be banned out. Then they're losing out on the Magneto Meteor M and the shields, right? So if they want to run a Luna Snow comp, it's gonna be hard for MVNE Esports.
Yes. Now, this is interesting because if Rejects Rejects almost took away Doctor Strange, which is honestly like Skinny's.
Oh, no,
I've
man.
never
What?
seen Skinny play anything else, so that would have been
Yeah.
disgusting. And interestingly enough, MVN go for a pass on their ban.
Yeah.
Okay. I like the ban. I gotta say, I like the ban of the Mantis from the side of MVE. I think that damage buff is something that you don't want Reject to have in their hands, especially when Finale is already doing so much damage. Just the additional damage buff that comes from an in-house Mantis can really rock the scenes. Okay, now we've got the counter ban for the Adam Warlock, nothing too spectacular there, and the lock from Loki's likely on both sides to possibly sustain some strategist ults in the long run.
Yeah, I think MVN, Marvel Rivals Vietnam, has definitely missed out, right, on that ban. I think they were pretty. I think it might have been a little bit of miscommunication. They probably should have saved
Perhaps.
the Magneto, and they were like, "Oh my God, why are we saving Mantis? They're not gonna play Mantis. They're not gonna ban Mantis. If we pick Mantis, they would rather just ban Adam Warlock, right? So it doesn't really make sense to pick Mantis, to save Mantis, but." Ultimately, this is the ban picks phase that they have decided on, and it seems like they are going to go with the Storm. The
Yep.
Storm and the Ultron, the Flyers composition on the side of Marvel Rivals Vietnam.
This is MVN's like kind of standard 1-2-3, right? This is the composition that they are very comfortable with, and so they really want to bring the fire. Skinny leading the charge possibly on that Strange. Now again, we're in this fly through, so we don't really know what their final picks are until they leave spawn, but if it truly is, then leaving Chu on the Storm, high in the sky, plus a Punisher on the ground, this is MVM at their finest, and will want to hopefully give Reject a run for their money.
Yeah, I think this comp is definitely better than the previous one in Domination, Krakoa. Simply because, yeah, like what you mentioned, there's already a flyer, there's already someone to deal with the ground units, there's someone to deal from the sky, maybe a flanker of sorts. Oh my god! No, it's just for the shields, right? Please don't tease us.
Yeah, it's just
not
for the
gonna be.
shields.
Yeah,
It's always
not-
just
yeah.
for the shields here.
Oh my god. No. But
Yep.
it seems like Skinny is gonna be on guarding duty. No Penny, unfortunately. The Spider Nest would have been really good here, but Rejects is marching into the points, and this is where True Tiger needs to play that peekaboo style. The peek and the hit, the peek and the hit. Lick should be doing the same thing. And honestly, in this position, right, Lick should be the first one to build up his ultimate charge, and that's gonna turn the tides of the battle.
Yeah, you can already see hitting that 50% mark is so strong
So
from their
fast.
perspective. Leaving Skinny on that solo Vanguard, just holding the fort. It's kind of like the ring around of Rosie's, just having a lot of poke as much as possible to be able to get your ultimate online. And Lich taken out immediately. This is a huge run from the side of Finale, Gnome with one of their own as well, and so a gap in response. It leaves Rethan on a solo strategist, and now Finale has repositioned onto a high ground, and
Oh my
suddenly
God.
MVM, no answers in sight. The swarm is inevitable, as well as the point for the side of Rejects.
Yeah, and that's the risky thing, right? Because when you only have a single Vanguard in the front lines, once they tear through your Doctor Strange, there's nothing stopping them from running into you, right? So that's the problem with MVN's lineup here. And even Lick, he was supposed to be the first one to have the lineup, but it seems like Mocha on the other side, Finale on the side, Toby on the side are the first ones to get the ultimate charge ready. So already first point unlocked. Lick, Rage of Ultron, probably needs to use it now. Very soon for a team fight here. This point is super important. It's a very good point to guard. But Final Judgment, Finale, trying to tear it. Maybe the application coming. Oh my god, Dobby coming in as well. Oh my god,
Absolutely
this is
disgusting
exactly
from
why.
the side of Finale, right? Even just piercing through that soul resurgence. Not enough sustain against a judge, jury, and executioner. Just laying down the law is Finale. They're gonna be able to move past this corner, and with those, terrain opened up, it allows free reign onto this singular choke point that MVN are really trying to do. I think the strange portals are denying. Yep,
Denying
I can't
it,
tell.
yeah.
Is it coming from the side of MVN? It is. With Skinny just trying to make their way onto this site right now.
Oh,
So,
everything?
Fate of both worlds pop. I have Agamotto as well. Finds one, I believe, and it's gonna be
Oh my God.
so much sustain coming out from these strategists. But ultimately, this point is flushed through, and we're sailing into phase number 3. Not without some bodies hitting the ground. Skinny, Lich, teams all dropping out of the air, and Reject
Oh my
look like an
God.
unstoppable force right now.
Exactly, multi. Reject right now. They are running through MVN at such a quick pace. It's already halfway past the second point, and there's so much time on the timer as well. Okay, right now Psionic Seduction coming in by Piggy. Gonna try and pull people and silence the opponent's ultimate. Skinny's shield won't do much because Finale, you have the turret, and once your turret's done, you have the Final Judgment. And once your Final Judgment's done, you still have your turrets to go back to with little cooldown left. This is so hard to deal with. Tien's has a Punisher as well, but oh my goodness, they're just tearing through MVN at the moment. And multi 4 minutes 24 seconds left on the clock. That was such a quick game.
I'm gonna be honest. I personally, right, as a viewer, not as a caster, Neil, as a viewer, I actually really like Marvel Vietnam. I think they really have some strats cooked up. And yes, I know chat's like, why they're only running one Vanguard. It has worked in the past, right? Skinny holding that playmaker, that singular Vanguard with those shields, and then everyone's riding around them with a triple strategist build. It has worked in the past. But when it doesn't, I see True Tiger stepping off into a Groot, into an Emma Frost. I think from this perspective has been banned out, but it is very heartbreaking for me to view this Vietnam team being walked over.
You know why? Because if only a single Vanguard has it's good. It can be good in certain situations, right? But the problem is you need the correct single Vanguard to be played. And in this case, a Magneto would have been way better as a solo Vanguard. Hear me out, because of the Meteor M, because of the shield, and because of the bubble shield. And that's something that's super valuable, and which is why the moment that it was banned, MVN couldn't have access to it. Doctor Strange is good, but I would say in a solo standpoint, Magneto would have been way better.
Yeah, and it's coming down to those hero picks and bans that really shape the battlefield for all these players at the moment. An interesting portal coming out to maybe get some sidelines here. It's kind of messy, not gonna lie. So we're letting Finale take that backline. Yeah, okay, yeah, huge backline portal from the side of Finale.
Oh my
just
God.
shredding it. I don't even think these players know where it's coming from. Oh my gosh. What a play coming out from Gnome and Finale, just setting up the Punisher to do exactly what their namesake does.
Yeah, Rejects just showing why they are on a league of their own, right? And look, setting up the turrets again. And by the time the turret's done, let me tell you something, Finale is gonna have his final judgment ready, locked and loaded, ready to go. So it's for MVN, it's just really hard at this point. Like, they're like, okay, maybe Loki's not really working. They're going to Cloak and Dagger, and hopefully that will buy enough pocket heals that they need, because right now Finale is just tearing through their front lines.
They really are, right? They're trying to break into it. This is as close as they got, but it's gonna be the Soul Resurgence, I believe, from both sides being popped just to be able to sustain. The final judgment is popped, and this leaves MVM scrambling for shields and as well as hiding spots. Rethan will pop the Eternal Bond just to force Reject back, and that's gonna be Gnome out of action. Huge opening for the side of Rethan. And Mocha popping the Fate of Both Worlds at the last moment to prevent any more staggers. Sonic Seduction as well. And it's going to be Lich and True Tiger absolutely disseminated. Piggy steps up as well. D Dobie. And before you know it, it's almost a team-wide. Skinny back in the spawn. No, will be dealt with swiftly and quickly. 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, this is just insane to watch, right? For a moment, we can see that MVN had the upper hand. They were coming in strong, but Rejects, they were just so quick to adapt and counter push. And Gargoyle, Mocha, the moment Final Judgment was popped by Tien's, Mocha was already ready with Fate of Both Worlds. Gargoyle was already ready to deal damage at the backlines. And now True Tiger is going to initiate with an Omega Hurricane. I'm not really sure if that's the perfect opening that they can do, because they are ready for this, right?
Oh, huge Eye of Agamotto to catch out Teens, but it's going to be Lich fighting back. Teens going to be revived by the BRB nonetheless to get back into the action here for the side of MVN. And suddenly, we've got ourselves a bit of a fight on to the point, a bit of a scramble, a bit of a brawl as it goes through. Loki with the God of Mischief. Who do we emulate? Only time will tell. I think it's going to be at least the Cosmic Yarn being popped and a Soul Resurgence as a counter. So much sustain happening and no one's dropping just yet.
No one's dropping just yet, but it's just a matter of time. The moment Fate of Both Worlds is gone and done with, that's the moment. Soul Resurgence as well. Look, it's over, and now the Final Judgment by Finale, but it's going to be countered by True Tiger. True Tiger is showing signs of life, taking out Finale. That's going to be a 6v5, and now all they have to do is just take out Gnome. Gnome is going to be down. Skinny has taken out Gnome. Will this be the moment that MVN takes this point? With 40 seconds left on the clock, it seems like Reject has to hold this. 4v6, Gargoyle just trying to snipe from the back, and now the Dazzle Butterfly is going to be employed. He's going to take it out with, with the damage amplifier of the Fate of Both Worlds, taking out MVN. MVN thought they had this in the bag, but Reject coming back is insane. Gargoyle, Piggy, taking out everyone in sight.
And it's just absolutely domination right now. Sonic Seduction just to put a final nail in the coffin. 9 seconds left. Does Skinny have a teleport? Yes, they do. We'll be able to hopefully touch the side unless they get body blocked. No, Skinny will be able to touch at least 1 foot in it. The body slam comes out, but the sustain is just barely enough. No, not enough. Team Skinny absolutely wiped off. This might be the beginning of the end, and nobody's there on site. It's gonna be Rejects with a clean sweep, denying all sort of capture progress from the side of Marvel Vietnam.
Rejects should never be in oh my god, Rejects, I mean, just this is the difference between a professional organization where they have access to coaches, access to replays, analysts, access to funds, access to trainings, and up against an open qualifier. Don't get me wrong, MVN they definitely did super well to get to this point. But here you can clearly see the experience, the access to certain facilities, to certain advantages. It just shows, and rejects just showing why they clearly belong as the head of the table in Group B.
Yeah, and it's not just that, all the prep work. I'm sure